Quick question. Can you use someone for child care if they pass at the beginning of the year, each for her?
Economics weekly meeting. For those of you who aren't aware, Masternomics was established to help develop individuals mentally, physically, and spiritually by teaching mastery of oneself in order to reach their highest potential professionally and personally. I would also like to make note that we are currently doing a giveaway. So basically, if you follow our Facebook page or in the Masternomics Facebook group, the only thing you have to do is comment your business name, list your website if you do have one, which also, gives you exposure to different audiences and drives traffic towards your business. So you would comment your business name, your website, and that'll pretty much be it. Next week, we will actually be pulling names for the giveaway to see who wins the giveaway. And what you will be winning is the Masternomics How to Write a Business Plan book, which is also on the website, just in case, because we're only picking like maybe one or two names. So, just in case your name isn't the one to be pulled, you can always go on our website. And I also list the website in the chat along with our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We have Twitter now, by the way. So be sure to go like and follow us on that. As I said, we will be pulling names next week during our weekly class. And that's pretty much all I got for you. So I'll turn it back over to Mr. Chris Glenn so we can get started with tonight's class.
All right, good deal, good deal. Yeah, I appreciate that. So we, like I said, we just want to get as much involvement as possible, build this community, and we appreciate you guys. So we'll be doing things like that, like Kanisha was talking about the giveaway. So I'm going to now, we're going to get into what we're going to be going over this evening. So we do these classes to enlighten ourselves, enlighten one another, to take us to another level. Because, that's what we're about. We're about pushing each other to our highest plateau. So that's why Masternomics was created. That's why we're doing these classes. That's why we're putting out this information. I definitely hope it helps you guys. So we're going to be talking about how to shift your perception, right? Shifting your perception of business, right? So shifting your perception. So first of all, your perception of business itself, and then your business, right? Because if you change the way you look at a thing, the thing you're looking at will change. So a lot of us start off, we have the wrong concept of what business is in general, right? And thus, we don't even know how to get started, or we're afraid to get started because we think business is one thing. We think business is what they taught us about in school, just wearing a suit, being boring, some snobbish guy, counting money or doing taxes all day and living a boring, mundane life, right? No, that's a job, right? That's a job. So when I'm talking about business, what we're talking about is we're talking about freedom, financial freedom, being able to be free. So we got to look at business as this is a pathway to freedom. So right now we think about the pandemic, the economic crisis, not just America, but the world, right? And you want to be able to make decisions to control yourself, knowing to put a cap on your money. You got to be free, right? So if we change the way we look at business and we start looking at business as business is a way I can access my freedom, okay? But freedom is not free. So we got to grasp that. Freedom is not free, all right? So we have to invest something to get our freedom. And one thing that you can invest in is not going to even cost you no money, but you will invest some time and some energy, and it's studying, it's being involved in classes like this and learning and getting courses like this. So what's perception? Perception, the ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through the senses, the normal limits to human perception, Okay, the state of being or process of becoming aware of something through the senses, the perception of pain, right? So we're talking about senses, all right? Now, all this is going to tie in. You're going to see, how does this affect our business? Well, because it affects life, right? Everything we're dealing with our senses, okay? Now, what they teach you, they taught you, let this person in. So they taught you in school, they taught you as a little boy, when you was a little boy or a little girl, what they say, you got 5 senses: see, hear, touch, taste, smell, right? 5 senses, right? And so as they were teaching you, they were constantly entrapping you into these 5 senses. Now, these 5 senses are real, but they should not just govern you. Because if you limit yourself to just these 5 senses, you won't ever really become successful. You won't ever become a multimillionaire. You won't ever have a successful, thriving business. You won't ever be able to walk away from that job because you are limited. What are you limited? You're limited with the physical, with these senses, right? All of these senses are tied to the physical world, okay? All these senses are tied to the physical world. So grasp that. Perception. What is perception? The way you see something or the way you comprehend it. So when we're talking about the way you see, we're not just talking about seeing with these eyes, we're talking about your comprehension, okay? Right, so your perception, how do you see something? If I was to say right now, describe a successful business, you're gonna get an image in your head. So you're gonna see something first. What are you seeing? You're not really seeing with your eyes, you're seeing with your mind, okay? All right, so that is outside of these 5 senses, okay? So if you want to be able to create, you got to go higher. You got to transcend these 5 senses. You cannot let these 5 senses hold you down. Think about great people that have been locked up, been incarcerated. We can list all types of people who went to prison, right? And they were inside of a cage, right? Behind bars. But they got out and did great things. How are they able to do that? When someone stopped those 5 senses, they kept them in a cage, right? They could only see through those bars. They could only touch those bars. They could only smell the scent of the prison, right? So they were trapped. But this freed them, the utilization of the higher faculties, the utilization of the mind. So if you learn how to use your mind for the betterment of you, then you will start to live and then you'll become free, right? So if someone's telling you where to eat, what to eat, and how to eat, right? They're keeping you in a controlled state. They're controlling you, all right? They're telling you where to go. They're telling you how much money you can make. Are you really free, right? Are you really free? That's a question we have to answer ourselves. So change your perception of the way you look at business. Don't look at business as, oh, this is going to be hard work, right? Look at, this is my path to freedom. This is my path to liberation, right? That's what business should be. So you got to change the way you're looking at it. Now, to transcend those 5 senses, to transcend see, hear, touch, taste, smell, right? We are the most powerful when we use and develop the 6 mental faculties we all possess. Now, they'll tell you all day about see, hear, touch, taste, and smell, right? You understand that when we're teaching kids, we got to teach them that. But we're dealing with children. We got to get them to a point. But we're grown. Everybody on here is grown, right? We're all adults. You see what I'm saying? So we got to say, how can we get to the next level? All right, can y'all still see? Let's see. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we still hear you.
Could you see? Because my screen, I lost my screen.
Yes. It went black for a minute.
Okay. All right, let me see if we can get back on. See, if my grandma was here, she'd say the devil busy, but I ain't gonna say that. So let's see if we can get back to where I was. Okay, hold on. There. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. Mm. All right, y'all. I apologize. All right, so I'm going haywire. So it's all perception, okay? So when we're dealing with the higher mental faculties, we're dealing with perception. Let me see if I can go back. Hold on. All right, back where I was. All right, so we're dealing with the higher mental faculties. So we've got 6 higher mental faculties, all right? The first one is imagination. Imagination, all right? So our imagination is what gives us the ability to create whatever we want, okay? Imagination, intuition, will, perception, memory, reason. Think about it. What did they do to this stuff when we was kids? Right? What did they do? They suppressed that. So think about when you was a little boy, a little girl, and you said, well, you believe you could fly. And you would play like you could fly. The first thing, you know, our parents or the ones who in control, the first thing they did was they said, well, stop that. You can't do that. Right? So what were they doing? They were trapping us. They were taking away our creativity, unbeknown to them, but that's what they were doing, right? So if we could shift our perception and realize we can create what we want, how do we create it? With our imagination, right? With your imagination. Even when you read in the Bible, it says you were created in the image and the likeness of God. The image, right? What's the root word of imagination? It's image, right? So you have the ability to create an image. Once you realize you are an image, and you can create an image. So the business you're trying to create, you have the ability to create it, but you're going to create it with your mind first, right? Intuition. What's intuition? Intuition is the ability for you to know something about a thing with just through feeling. Through feeling. You ain't even gotta see. You know, that's when you was young or whatever, and you bring a girl home to meet mama, or vice versa. You know, the young lady brings the guy home to meet mama. She said, I don't know, something ain't right about that boy. Something ain't right about that girl. That's that feeling. That's that intuition. These are abilities that we have. These are the higher mental faculties that's going to make you successful, right? Will. What's will? Determination, right? If we was slaves in this country, how did we become free? We access our willpower, right? What's will? You willing to do something. It's a force that you have. Can't touch it, you can only feel it, right? You know you got it, okay? Perception, what we're talking about right now. Shifting, the way to shift the way you look at things, right? The way you look at, if you're looking at things the same way you looked at, if you're looking at life the same way you looked at life 10 years ago, you're not shifting. If you've been in business for over a year and you're at the same exact place, you got to shift your perception. You got to shift the way you're looking at things. You got to shift the way you look at your clients. You got to shift the way you look at money. You got to shift. Your perception has to change. Memory and reason. That's the logic. That's your determining factor, right? These are the things that will take you to the next level, right? Grasping these higher faculties that we have. That's what's going to push you to the next level. So when you look at something, like right now, you look at this image, what do you see? There's different people here. You probably see something different. We might all see something different. Right? If I told you what I see, or if I say what this is, and I state it as if it's the absolute fact, and I tell it to you over and over again, you're going to start to see what I'm telling you to see. But right now, you might be seeing something totally different. Then as you look at it, right now, you might see one thing, but the more you look at it, you look at the shapes and you look at it, your mind starts to associate with images that you have already seen, right? That's perception, right? Now, think about what I said. When you're looking at something, you're trying to figure it out. So what you do is you're associating the shape, the image, the color, the size, using your 5 senses to something that you have experienced before. You understand? To an experience you've already had. Think about your business. You're only making $10,000 and that's all you ever made. Why? Because you're only seeing this, you're seeing the same thing the same way all the time. You got to look at it from a different perspective, right? You got to shift how you look at it. You got to shift how you looking at your business, right? Like I always say, that's how Uber was created. They shifted the taxi business and man, we got to do this a different way. I want to be able to make money in every city at the snap of my fingers, right? I'm going to turn regular people into business owners. I'm going to turn their car, which is their biggest liability, I'm going to change it to an asset for them. And they're going to take their cars and make money. Somebody looked at something a different way. They looked at a problem and found beauty in it, right? So you got to shift the way you looking at things, right? And then the things you're looking at are gonna change. So you got that ability. So right now, if you're struggling in your business, pinpoint why you're struggling and look at it differently. Okay, if you're struggling in your relationship, pinpoint why are you struggling and communicate better. Shift how you look at it. What you perceive as a problem might just be your perception. Okay. This image right here, right? What do you see? Just look at it and think, what do you see? Is it just one thing or can it be more than one thing? It's all perception. It's all how you look at it, right? It could be, I see a flask and somebody can drink out of it, right? Pick it up and drink out of it. I also see 2 people looking at each other. One picture, right? That's life. Nothing is stays the same. Everything is different. It's all how you view it. What point are you viewing it? Now think about this, your perception, look at it as a vantage point, right? How can I take this situation which appears bleak? My business isn't making any money, right? And how can I turn that into a positive? You gotta, how do you perceive your business, right? Change the way you look at it. Do you look at it like a job or do you look at it as a way to freedom? If you stop looking at it like a job and look at it as the way to freedom, the way you're going to buy the house you want, buy the car you want, be able to go on vacation with the kids, now the business looks totally different. It looks like a path to freedom. Okay, it's all perception. It's all the way you're looking at a thing. All right. The only limitations we have are the ones that we place on ourselves. Think about that. The only limitations we have are the ones we place on ourselves, right? They say, well, faith will move mountains. Mhm. If you believe it, right? So the problem is somebody, you're saying, well, I can't move a mountain, because you're thinking of a mountain as in that mountain the image that you have of a mountain, right? That mountain could be that bad relationship you in, man. I can't get rid of this man. I can't get rid of this woman. I'm just gonna accept it, right? I can't. That mountain could be that job that's holding you down. They got you controlled, got you in a dependent state, right? But you can move it. You have the ability to move it, right? So the only limitations we have are the ones we place on ourselves, right? So you're limiting yourself. The amount of money that you're making on a consistent basis is only based on your conscious awareness, right? You're only conscious that you can make that kind of money. So if you're only making, I had a discussion with a guy today, and we were talking about jobs, and he was like, man, ain't no way I could just work for $20 an hour. Some people, they jump for joy at $20 an hour. Some people say, well, they're giving us $15 an hour. It's your perception. Now, if all you've ever made was $10 an hour, with $15 an hour, you're moving, you're going the right way. But if 5 years from now, you're still making $15 an hour, you're in a dead state. Your comfort zone is your dead zone. Well, likewise, your success is based on you. There's some people that think they're not even worthy to make $10 an hour, right? But who said that? Is that law? No, that's the limitation that they placed on themselves. Mm-hmm. So you create these limitations and you accept them. And that's why you only getting so far. So think about this. Now, if I was to ask everybody, are you a small business owner? Everybody out here probably would say, yeah. Actually, the SBA defines you as a small business owner because they say that's under 500 employees, and that's small. That's the way they defined it. But these words small, you already have a concept of the word small before the SBA gave you their definition. And if small, you think of something small, you think of small. It's little. It's not that effective. It's just enough. It's small. So if you brand yourself and label yourself as a small business, right? Small businesses start small and they stay small. If you think big, then you will be big. Think about the big businesses that's running the country, right? They didn't start off saying, I'm a small business. Even when they were physically small and making a low amount of money, they thought big. The whole vision was, I'm going to be a global national company. I'm going to be a worldwide company. If you think about the companies, the Fortune 500 companies now, when they started, they did not start off saying we're a small business. We just want to be a small business. No, even though they were small, their whole mindset was based on being global and big, and thus they are big now today. So whatever you think about is what you're going to become. So if you're thinking of your business as, this is just a side business, I just keep putting it on my taxes, while I work the job, you're always going to be in that position because your business is just a side business. So it will always remain a side business. But if you look at that business as your way to freedom, right? If you look at that business as your way to financial freedom, to creating the life that you want, guess what it's going to do? It's going to be big, and it's going to be the pathway to freedom. Now, look at this. Only 21% of self-made millionaires were A students. 41% reported they were B students, and 29% were C students. 29% of self-made millionaires, right, were C students. Think about that. Only 21% of self-made millionaires were A students. So what's that telling you? To be rich, to be financially free, to be powerful, to take care of your family, to get the things that you want, to buy the things that you want, to create the life that you want, you don't have to be an A student. You don't have to be book smart, right? You don't have to just follow rules. So when people talk to me and they say, man, you making all this money, how many degrees you got, man? Look, that don't define me. I'm very smart, right? Yeah, I got that, but that don't define me. You understand what I'm saying? So when you think about the massively rich and wealthy, these people was college dropouts. We can name them. Almost every billionaire you're probably going to name was a college dropout. Why? Because they knew the education system wasn't going to free them. What's going to free you and help you get the things that you want? Economics. And it's not this economic system, it's creating your own economy. If you don't like this economic system, you got to learn how to master it, and thus you can create your own. So you can create your own economy, right? So anybody that's complaining and say, man, I don't like capitalism, I don't like this or that. Well, you're going to have to utilize what you got. So you're going to have to utilize this capitalistic society to get you some money, some wealth, and some power, and then create your own. You want to just live on the land, you're going to need to get you some money and get you some land first. But it's the way to freedom. Economics is the way to freedom. This is nothing new. You can research Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington been telling you, whatever you got is enough. Booker T. Washington said, drop your buckets wherever you stand and make it happen, right? Digging that dirt and turning that dirt into some money. So we always got enough, right? But they programmed you to say education was the pathway to success, but only 21% of self-made millionaires were A students. So they weren't the smartest apples in the bunch according to statistics. But what did they access? What did they use? The higher mental faculties, right? That we went through, right? What is that? Will, perception, intuition, memory, reasoning, right? Imagination. Think about the massively rich people and how they do. They constantly thinking of new ways to create jobs for others, creating ways for people to work for them so they can stay financially free. You got that ability too, right? If I talk to everybody on here, probably everybody here is gonna say they believe in a God and say that they have free will. You got free will and you choosing to be uncomfortable? You choosing not to be happy? You choosing to work for somebody and complain about it? Wow. Boy. All right. What labels or limitations have you placed on yourself? What labels and limitations have you accepted? Think about that. Whatever labels you call yourself is something that you're placing it on yourself, right? So people gave us names, titles, labels, and we accepted them. Now, they do become limitations if you accept it as a limitation. You understand? Think about it. Your race, your nationality, your gender. You know, I hear people say all the time, man, we Black, man, they holding us down. They doing this, they doing that. Yeah, I would have bought that 400 years ago, right? But guess what? So many of us have paved the way. You know, we got opportunities now. And guess what? If they doing that, so be it. Let them do what they do. What are you doing, right? So if Black is a limitation, only if you want it to be a limitation, right? And if you're white or whatever, and you looking at it the opposite, and you saying, well, all these Black people starting to take over, that's all how you view it. You right? It's all your perception, how you view a thing. Right. And so for women that say, well, you know, we can't do this because we're women, or not, you got men that saying, man, they giving all the opportunities to the women and they putting us all on child support. If you accept those limitations, that's what's going to happen to your life. You're going to have a limited, complaining, worthless, non-productive life. But if you accept the reality that you have the ability to do whatever you want to do, if you're willing to access the higher mental faculties, if you're willing to have some will and determination, if you're willing to use your imagination and be creative, you can create a path to financial freedom, right? You have that ability. That's what business is about. Shift your perception of your business and create your path to financial freedom. Your economic status, right? What do they say, economic status? Well, people say, well, you're poor, you're middle class, some people are rich, some people are wealthy. Where do you fit in? What do you say? What are you? Are you poor? Are you middle class? Are you rich? Are you wealthy? Right? If anybody tells me they're poor, they'll probably be poor a year from now. If anybody says they're middle class, they'll probably be what they consider middle class a year from now. If you consider yourself rich, you're gonna be rich, right? But think about this. You have the ability to be whatever you want. So someone told poor people, you're poor. But the thing is, if you start to believe it, then guess what you're gonna be? You're gonna be poor, right? So now we're back to that understanding of the power of the mind and the understanding of accepting limitations. So they say you're poor, you're a minority. What they're doing is they're putting you in a box and putting their foot on top of you. You understand? So don't accept limiting titles. Don't let people put limitations on you, right? Because whatever you want to become, that's what you have to say right now. That's what you have to say, I am right now. It has to become your reality right now. Because your reality starts with your mind. That's your conscious awareness, starting in the mind first, right? So it's all starting in your mind. So if you want to be rich a year from now, proclaim, I am rich. You want to be rich 10 years from now, say, I'm rich. You want to be wealthy, say, I am wealthy. And you feel it, and then you're getting the vibration of it. And guess what? You're going to do what wealthy people do. What do wealthy people do? What do rich people do? They read. They study on things that's going to change their life. They focus on what they want, right? And thus, if you focus and you study on the things that you want, what are you going to get? The things that you want, right? So you think about the guy or girl that made straight A's. The trick was they lied and said that was the way to financial freedom. So you thought that was the way, but you studied on a skill how to be a good employee. And thus you became a good employee. It didn't lead you to financial freedom, right? So now we know better, so we got to do better. So if we want a better economic place in life, if you want to control your economy, there's no better way than to do it with a business, right? Business is transformational. Look at this, it's in the Bible. It says, beat your plowshares into swords, your pruning forks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Let the weak say, I am strong. Let the weak say, I am strong, right? This is a perception. You understand? Right? So if you're weak, say, I am strong. It starts with you, what you say about yourself, what you feel about yourself, right? You got to say it and feel it. If I go back 20 years and you look at Kanye West, right? That Kanye West right there saw himself as a billionaire. He didn't see himself as a poor, struggling kid in college. He dropped out of college and they were like, boy, you stupid. He said, nah, I'm a billionaire, right? Go now, fast forward 20 years to this year we're in right now, he's a billionaire. So when people said he was poor, he never said he was poor. He said, I'm rich. I already know what I'm gonna be. I'm rich. I'm rich. So let the weak say I am strong. So when they tell you weak, no, say I'm strong. When they say you poor, man, I'm rich. Right? But the problem is you're stuck on the physical things of what you can see. And that's why you can't create nothing. So that's why when I tell people about business and I say, well, do this. Let's establish, let's get you some business credit. Let's do this. You know what stops people? They want it right now because that's the only thing they can see is right now. Oh man, that's gonna take money. Well, I'm gonna get the money for that. Oh man, I gotta do that. Oh man, you Chris, I thought it was just easy, man. I gotta pay some money for this and that, right? Well, you're paying money and losing in life. That's the biggest gamble right now. You're getting taxed more because you're poor, right? You're living an unfulfilled life, right? Most people aren't in good relationships. And the number one reason why relationships fail is finances. But you don't want to take the time because you're stuck on what you could see right now. But if you could see yourself rich right now, I promise you, you'll be rich, right? So it's all about what you see. So let the weak say I am strong. So say I'm rich. Don't ever say I'm poor. Don't ever say what I don't have. Don't think of limitations. Stop saying, oh, I can't do this because they won't let me do this. They won't let me do that. I talk to people that have been in prison 5, 10 years and coming out and making and jumped everybody that been out here free, and they're making way more money, and they got a new family, and they got new cars and new houses. Why? Because they access the higher mental faculties, right? The will, right? Now, your belief system. This is the number one thing that affects where you are today, your belief system, right? We all acknowledge something greater than us, a higher power, and a lot of us use the term God, so we're going to use God because we've all been influenced through Christianity in America. So God, we know what we're talking about here, but your belief system and how you believe in God. Everybody don't believe in God the same way, right? So what's the belief system? Your religion, your spirituality. But the thing is, how does it relate to you, right? How does it relate to you? So if you hear people and they use these terms, man, I'm not worthy. When they pray, they say, well, God, I know I'm not worthy, but I just want to be able to do this. You've already limited yourself because you said you're not worthy. God, I'm not deserving. You've already proclaimed that you're not deserving. God, I'm just a worm. You've already reduced yourself when at the beginning of that same book, the Bible tells you're made in the image of God, but now you reduce yourself to a worm, not even a mammal, a worm, a doggone there, what, a couple-celled organism, the lowest thing that waddles around in the dirt. You calling yourself that, but you wonder why you don't get the things you say you wanted, right? Because it's your relation to God, your relationship. But if you shift that same thinking, because you say you believe in an almighty, all-powerful, omnipotent, all places at all time, always present God, you say, well, I'm a child of God. Okay, now you're getting a way better relationship, right? I'm the caretaker of the earth. What does that mean, right? What is the highest creature on the planet Earth? You, the human. You can take care of all the animals. You got so much power, you can create zoos, put them all in cages and just watch them for fun. Just watch animals. You can create environments. You're the caretaker of the earth, right? You can plant seeds and make the earth beautiful, or you can poison it with gases and all the stuff that we do, right? You're God's highest creation, right? He didn't say the dogs was in his image. He didn't say the cats. He didn't say the lions. He didn't say the whatever animal. He said, no, you, mankind, in his image. And then top it off, he gave you free will, right? So what's holding us back from excelling in business and excelling in life is your perception, right? Because if you keep thinking you're just a man or you're just a woman, it's a limit to what you can do, right? You're thinking in limitation. But if you see yourself as a spiritual being inside flesh, right? Then therefore, what is inside you is what you really are. Okay, so what's inside you is you, right? It's not the outer appearance. It's not the man, the woman, whatever. It's what's inside you. So once you acknowledge that and you focus on that, then you understand there's nothing that you can't do, right? Because the limitations are produced with what's called space and time. Space and time, right? But think about this. If you're a spiritual being having a physical experience, then you're only here for a moment in time. You're only here for a moment in time, right? However old you are, you're only going to be here for a certain amount of time. And the thing about it is, you was given amount of time to be here. Do you really think you was given time to be here to just work for somebody? Do you really think that you were just given time to be here and not experience the life and all its beauties? Do you really think there's a higher power that wants you to be in poverty and other people that have a bunch of wealth? No. If you think that, that's because your thinking is limited, right? So in order for you to excel in your business, you got to shift the perception. Change the way you look at things, right? Stop looking at the glass half empty and look at it half full. Why? Because if I look at it as half full, gratitude comes. Because I'm grateful for the water that is in the glass. But if I look at it half empty, then I was gonna look at, oh man, I ain't got enough time. It's almost over. It's halfway gone. My life halfway gone. Man, I'm 40 years old. Man, I can't start no business. Man, I'm 50 years old. I can't start no business now, man. That's good for y'all young folks, right? And then you live to be 80, poor for another 40 more years, right? Or you're in this deadbeat relationship with this man or woman, and he's verbally abusive or she's verbally abusive or physically or this or that, and you got dreams and all they're doing is kicking your dreams down. We don't need no big house. Let's stay living in this shack, right? And then you say, well, I've been with him 10 years. I've been with her 10 years. And I guess it ain't meant for me. Lord ain't want it for me. No, that's your belief system. So you got to change your belief system. You understand? The same Bible that people are reading says God is no respecter of a person. He don't care if Chris Glenn is a millionaire or Chris Glenn dig ditches, right? Just live by the simple rules of life. Don't kill people, don't steal, don't, trick people and all that stuff. That's fine. I don't care nothing about no money. This is stuff that humans created to as a mean of exchange, right? So let's shift our perception, shift the way we look at things. And I promise you, your life will change. If you change the way you look at things, then the things you're looking at are going to change. I am not going to keep you guys long. I hope that helped you guys. I hope that helps us all. This is what it's about, us sharing information and growing and being the best that we can be. Everyone on here, we have some form of business or some form of friendship or relationship. And guess what? We would not know each other if it wasn't for business. That's the crazy thing. That's how beautiful business is, right? Business which can transform your life. So if you have a business, put the word out about your business. Believe in yourself. Grow your business, right? Don't let anyone shoot you down. Don't let anyone tell you what you can't do, right? You can build some of the best relationships through business. You can take care of your kids through your business. You can be financially free. Business is a pathway to freedom. So that's what this was about, shifting our perception. So Ashley, what are some tips on how to change your perspective when you lean toward negative thoughts? So the question was, what are some ways to shift your perception when you're leaning toward negative thoughts? So this is a thing that you can do. And there's a course we have called The Effects of Manifestation. So in there, I talk a lot about the good thing is, first we have to acknowledge your non-productive behaviors, because thoughts become things. So think about the things in your life that you have that are negative. Okay, think about the things you have that are negative and identify them. Okay, so before it was a physical thing, it was a thought, right? So let's just say it's overweight for you. You wanted to lose weight, right? So the thing is, you got to identify. Don't focus on what you don't want. Focus on what you do want, right? So if you want to lose weight and you say, well, I want to lose 20 pounds, well, think about your life if you were 20 pounds lighter, right? So therefore we start to focus on the feeling you're gonna have once you reach your desired goal, right? So if you focus on being 20 pounds lighter, what are you gonna start doing? What is your mind gonna start doing? It's going to start focus on the things to make you lose weight, right? Exercise more. When you're picking up a candy bar, you're gonna think about, wait a minute, this is counterproductive to me reaching my goal, right? So the first thing you gotta do is decide what you want. Okay, so you said you wanna be rich, right? What's that? If I say you right now what rich is, then you're stuck on what my concept of rich is. So you gotta, that's too vague. And that's what most people do. They say, I wanna be rich, but that's nothing. Rich is not wealthy. I know a lot of rich people that are miserable and they got a bunch of tax issues. They make a lot of money, right? But they're just rich. right? So you have to be able to define what you want, more specific. So this is a way you could do that. So since you said, well, I want to be rich, well, think about this. Well, define what is rich to you. So you got to identify where you are at financially right now, and then think about what you want to do, right? Think about the things that you want to do. You on a private plane in an island. All right, so, okay, cool. So think about the things that you want, and that's more specific. So that's good. So now if you say, well, I want a certain thing, a private plane, I want an island, right? So now your mind gets in alignment with what you want. Okay, so the way the law of attraction works, it works through vibration, frequencies, and movement. And this is science. This is not mumbo jumbo, hocus pocus. So once you decide what you want, your mind gets in alignment with it, right? So now if you say, this is the thing that I want, you're going to start to attract things to that desired goal, right? You'll get in alignment with it. So you'll be focused and you'll be studying on things to get the private plane. Then it's going to seem like, it's called synchronicity. It's going to seem as if you're walking and you go into Barnes and Noble and you're thinking about this private plane, and somebody walks up and say, hey, where you work at? Oh, I work here. Well, they got a position that's paying $300,000 a year, right? And you'll be like, dang, wow, this guy just walked in and gave me the opportunity of a lifetime, right? Now, is that getting you closer to having the private plane? Yeah, that's getting you closer to having the private plane. But what's happening is your thoughts are aligning with what you want. Now, in that process of you decide what you want and your thoughts aligning with what you want, the people that are in alignment with what you want, they're going to start to fade away. Now, they could be friends right now, but because they're not in alignment with what you want, right, they're either going to raise their frequency up to where you're at, and they're going to be a part of you getting what you want, or they're going to fall to the wayside. And a lot of times they're going to perceive it as this person changed and you think you're better, blah, blah, blah. But that's their perception. So we're back to the perception again. But the thing about this is your life is for you. Okay. So your life should be about you getting the things that you want. Right. Now you was taught and they would say, well, that's selfish. Well, no, that's really very helpful, because if everyone right now went home and focused on their family and taking care of their family the best way they know how, the world would be a lot better place. There would be way less poverty, right? And we would all love one another, right? The way we love ourselves, right? Because you would be taking care of you. If you took care of you, you wouldn't become a problem for someone else, right? So you wouldn't become poor. And that'd be a great way of eliminating poverty. So what we don't focus on is what we want. So when you get thoughts, first decide what you want, get in line with what you want through image, through concentration, through meditation, and through visualization. And those things lead to manifestation. And then you will produce what you want. And so that's when a non-productive thought comes up. If your goal is whatever, if it was getting a degree in college and your best friend knows that you got the exam in the morning, he pops up and says, man, let's hit the club just for an hour. You're going to kill that thought because it's not in alignment with what you want. So once you decide what you want, you'll get in alignment with what you want.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, was it? You're welcome. So yeah, I mean, and that's what it's about. So is there any more questions? Anyone? Anything? Okay. Well, look, if there is no more questions or comments, I want to definitely thank you guys, and looking forward to seeing y'all next week. If there's something specific too that you'd like me to go over or you need clarity on, all you can do, you can message us on Facebook or whatever, or hit me up or whatever and say, this is something that I really would like expounded on, and we can do that, because it's really all about us getting clarity. You are definitely welcome. Yeah, mindset is everything. That's true. So yeah, it's all about us getting clarity. So with that being said, hey, peace. I love y'all. We'll see you next week.
Peace, bro.
All right, peace.
Okay.